Good afternoon. You're watching the Financial News Network. I'm Chuck Pierce. Bribery allegations have recently surfaced against Wal-Mart's Mexican subsidiary, Wal-Mart de Mexico. According to the New York Times, Wal-Mart's own investigation into the matter found evidence that their Mexican subsidiary paid more than $24 million in bribes to officials to help advance expansion in Mexico. The most interesting part about the case is that the investigation occurred in late 2005. Instead of expanding on the probe or notifying U.S. or Mexican law enforcement, Wal-Mart executives at their headquarters in Arkansas allegedly shut the investigation down. With me to examine this story is Thomas Gorman, a partner at international law firm Dorsey Whitney and former senior counsel at the Securities and Exchange Commission. Thanks for being with us today.
My pleasure.
All right, so first let's talk about the relationship between Wal-Mart and its subsidiary. According to the New York Times, there's obviously been some problems at Wal-Mart de Mexico, but legally, what did Wal-Mart do wrong in this case?
Well, first of all, if you just set aside the question of what the parent company knew, if you're just focusing on the subsidiary, many people overlook the fact that the Foreign Corrupt Practices Act has two parts to it. One part's the bribery part that everybody talks about. The other part is what's called the Books and Records and Internal Controls provision, which requires that public companies like Wal-Mart have accurate books and records. Here, even if all of the activity was confined to the subsidiary, and even if it wasn't attributed to the parent, which is not the case here, the books and records of Wal-Mart would be inaccurate because presumably the bribes weren't booked correctly. So when the subsidiary is rolled up into the parent, you've got a violation of that piece of the FCPA. But here, the allegations go much, much further because essentially there are allegations of a cover-up that involves the parent company, which means the parent company can also be charged under the bribery provisions.
Okay. And Wal-Mart, when the parent company Wal-Mart found out about this bribery through email, what should have been the first thing that Wal-Mart should have done in this case?
Well, really the proper way to handle this kind of an inquiry is once the company's taken a look at it, examined that there are at least credible allegations here. Under the Sarbanes-Oxley Act, the way that these things are usually administered is the audit committee of the board of directors takes over. The audit committee is empowered under that statute to conduct whatever investigations are appropriate. So what the audit committee usually does is they hire independent investigators, usually a law firm experienced in this area, perhaps an accounting firm to assist them, and they are directed to go out and conduct a full and complete investigation. They also will consider the question of self-reporting to the regulators, in this case the Department of Justice and the SEC, because if in fact it turns out there are bribes that have been paid, violations of the statute, there is substantial credit for self-reporting, which can mitigate any potential claims against the company.
All right, and if these allegations are true, I guess, to Wal-Mart de Mexico and the allegations of the alleged cover-up of the bribery, what are the possible consequences for both the parent company and the Mexican subsidiary?
Well, there are significant potential consequences on the criminal side and on the civil side for the company and for the individuals who are involved. If you go to the company side, for example, the company itself could be indicted along with the subsidiary for criminal charges. Those charges carry very severe sanctions. Companies have paid millions and millions of dollars in fines. In addition, part of the resolution of those charges is usually a restructuring of the company's compliance efforts. Oftentimes, in severe cases, what's called a monitor is installed who reports back to the Department of Justice for a number of years and to the SEC to make sure that the company restructures its operations. Being convicted of these charges, if Wal-Mart's a government contractor, which they probably are, they could be debarred from contracting with the government. For the individuals, they can go to prison, and a number of individuals have gone to prison. The Department of Justice has made it very clear that prosecuting individuals is In fact, the priority under this statute is a way to stop the violations. And just recently, they put the CEO of a fairly significantly sized company in prison for violating the FCPA.
All right, and Walmart came out with a statement yesterday saying that it's strengthening its controls to make sure it's complying with the Foreign Corrupt Practices Act. Do you think this statement is a little too late with what's going on right now, or?
Well, I think that's a good statement for the company to make now, but unfortunately, that won't mitigate what's already happened. It helps show that the company has taken a look at this situation, that they're taking it seriously, and that they're moving forward to try to rectify it. So for that, it's a significant statement forward for the company from where it was. But if the New York Times articles are to be credited, it's unfortunate that it wasn't made several years earlier.
All right, and lastly, there's been many other things coming out about Walmart after the New York Times reported on the bribery case. I mean, multiple reports about corruption from other areas of Walmart's operations. I mean, a collapse of the company's ethical code, things like that. What do you see coming out in the future?
This is a really significant problem for Walmart because when you look at the company, they've worked hard over the last few years to try to overcome a lot of allegations that they weren't really a good corporate citizen. They've tried to adopt a code of ethics, tried to put out this very ethical image, and now this really just taints all of that because, as you said, there's not only allegations about Mexico, there's suggestions about other areas. That's why the statement that you saw put out today said that they're taking a look at their worldwide operations, which is exactly what they're going to have to do. But this is going to be a long and difficult process for Walmart. These investigations take a great deal of time. They are distractions for the company. They cost a great deal of money, and it will take a long time to really reevaluate all of this, at the end of which, if in fact these allegations are correct, it will take a really substantial remediation effort for this company to go in, revamp all of its compliance procedures, and really revamp the culture of the company, because if the cover-up allegations are correct, it raises significant questions about the culture of the company, and it's the culture of the company that really drives the compliance and helps ensure that compliance is done correctly.
All right, thank you very much for being with us today, Mr. Gorman.
My pleasure.
And for more analysis on today's top financial stories, keep it right here to the Financial News Network, your source for the latest business news.